So if you notice it, in last class we studied what is oxidation and as well as what is reduction. If both is taking place in the single reaction, we used to call it as what? We used to call it as
reaction.
Redox reaction.
Redox reaction.
So now if you notice it here, so as we know in last class, we studied these redox reactions in only based upon the totally 4 definitions, that is in form of oxygen, and the second one is in form of what? Hydrogen. Is it exactly? Yes. So now either donating of like addition of oxygen, we used to call it as oxidation, or instead of addition, what we have to do? Either we can add oxygen or we can remove of hydrogen. Also, we can call it as oxidation. Now, if you take in the form of hydrogen, either addition of hydrogen, we used to call it as what? Addition of hydrogen, we used to call it as reduction. Understand? Or we can say removal of what? Removal of oxygen. We used to call it as reduction. Now, same way as I taught you in the last class, two more terminology also I taught you. What is the terminologies? What is the terminologies that? One is oxidizing agent. One is oxidizing agent. Next one is reducing agent. Is it yes or no? So now, oxidizing agent means we are having in the form of 3 definitions. What is the oxidizing agent? So either it needs to like oxidizes other substance by taking electrons. You understand? Taking electrons, or it needs to give oxygen, supplying, giving oxygen, or it needs to what do guys? By taking hydrogen. So whatever it is. So in these 3 things, whatever it will happen, that is what we used to call it as oxidizing agent. Either it needs to giving oxygen or by taking hydrogen, we can say oxidizing agent. Now, what do you mean by reducing agent? Anybody? So taking electrons here. So here what will happen? Reducing agent means
Giving electrons.
Giving electrons. So please kindly remember, for today's class, it will be helpful. Giving electrons. Next one, what will come?
Taking oxygen.
So giving oxygen means what will come here? Taking oxygen. You have to tell oxygen. And taking hydrogen. So here what will come?
Giving hydrogen.
Hydrogen. So this is what we used to call as reducing agent. Is it yes or no? So now, in last class, we studied that based upon these definitions, what is that? Either donating, giving oxygen or taking hydrogen, or taking oxygen and giving hydrogen. We studied oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Now, in our today's class, based upon by taking electrons, based upon by giving electrons, we will study what is oxidizing agent, what is reducing agent. Same way in oxidation and reduction also, donating electrons and as well as receiving electrons, we are going to study. So we are having other definitions of reduction reactions. Yes or no? Oxidation and reduction. So now that other definitions we'll study in our today's class. Now, if you want to study these other definitions, you need to know electronic concept of redox reactions. So that is the basic thing. First of all, we should understand. So as we know, those chemicals, like those chemical reactions in which transfer of electrons takes place. Remember, wherever the transfer of electrons takes place, so that reactions we used to call as redox reactions. Are called redox reactions. Clear? So now, if there is a loss of electrons, remember all of you always, loss of electrons, then what we used to call? Oxidation or reduction? You should tell me. Loss of electrons, we used to call it as what?
Oxidation.
Oxidation. Kindly remember. Loss of electrons we used to call it as oxidation. Same way, if there is a gain of electrons, then we can say what? Gain of electrons we used to call it as reduction reactions. Is it yes or no? Sai? Now, if you will notice it very carefully, class 9th you studied valency. Do you remember valency, guys? Please respond. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you notice and tell me, in where it is, where transfer of electrons is very common, metals and metals or metals and non-metals. Let me see who will say. Where the transfer of electrons is very easy. Let's transfer means donating or receiving.
Sir,
Between
metals and non-metals.
Metals and non-metals.
So that is what. So this loss of electrons and as well as gain of electrons is very common. Is very common between when? Between where, guys? Common when
And not.
metals combine with the non-metals. You understanding? Metals combine with the non-metals. So non-metals and non-metals, what will happen, guys? Combine.
Sharing electron.
Yes. So that is what. So you can understand by this time. So oxidation and reduction reaction will take place only when metals combines with the non-metals, because donating electrons and as well as gaining, like loss electrons and gain of electrons takes place only between metals and non-metals. That is what you have to remember. Now, as we already know, valency also. You tell me, what is the valency of metals? Valency of metals.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1,
So
2,
plus
3.
1.
Understand? So that is, we know that the metals have, okay, metals have 1 or 2 or 3. Only this, understanding, 3 electrons in their valence cell. Electrons in valence cell. Same way, what is about non-metals? Anybody? Non-metals, what is having?
6, 7.
Non-metals, what is having? They are having 5. Understanding, 4 we cannot say. Why 4 we cannot say? 4 is the sharing of
Sharing electron.
that is what. So now non-metals 5, 6 or 7 electrons will be there in their valence cell. Is it yes or no? Electrons in valence cell. So based upon this, what is the valency? Can anybody tell me? What is the valency? What is the valency of metals and what is the valency of non-metals? That is one. So if you'll notice it, so now metals wants to become stable so that they will lose the electrons or they will gain the electrons.
Lose them.
They
Lose the
will
electron.
lose or lose the electrons. So they will lose the electrons. So you tell me they will lose the electrons means, so they are what they are getting like they are reducing agent or they themselves get oxidized. They are giving electrons. Giving electrons means who is called as? Giving electrons. Giving electrons, what we used to call? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
What we used to call giving electrons?
Reducing agent.
Understand? And themselves, they will get oxidized. By donating electrons, they will get oxidized by themselves. Same way, non-metals, they will taking the electrons. So that is why they are called as what? Maunesh? They are called as? Themselves, they will accept the electrons. How many electrons they will accept? Non-metals, anybody? So if it is 5 electrons are there, it will accept 3 electrons. If 6 electrons are there, it will accept 2 electrons. If 7 electrons are there, it will accept only 1 electron. This is only we used to call it as, what we used to call it? Valency. Do you understand it? And they will become stable in nature. So they are taking the electrons. That is why non-metals we used to say what, guys? Reducing agent or oxidizing agent? We are used to call it as oxidizing. Do you understand it? Yeah, oxidizing agent. Why we used to call it as oxidizing agent? They are taking electrons. Do you understand it? So that is what we used to say, taking electrons and they'll become stable in nature. So that is why you can see, remember, always those who are donating electrons, donors, we can say, donating or losing electrons, those who are lose the electrons, understanding? So they are called as electropositivity. What we used to call?
Electropositivity.
Electropositivity. Do you understand it? Same way, those who are accepting electrons, accepting or receiving, or we can say taking electrons, then what will come, guys? You can tell me. Electronegativity. Do you understand? So now you tell me, electropositivity is shown by metals or non-metals? Electropositivity.
Metals.
Metals will
Metals.
show the electropositivity, and electronegativity, what it will show? Non-metals. Clear?
Metals.
That is what you have to understand. So that is why. So accepting electrons means non-metals will work as a oxidizing agent or reducing agent. They will work as a oxidizing agent. Do you understand it? So why they are taking the electrons? So by taking electrons, they are called as oxidizing agent. By donating electrons, they are reducing themselves. So that is why they are called as, what we used to call, guys? Reducing agents. Do you understanding, everybody? So that is what you have to remember, which is oxidizing, which is reducing, and etc. etc. But loss of electrons is called as what? Loss of electrons, what we used to call, guys? Loss of electrons we used to call as oxidation.
Oxidation.
And gain of electrons we used to call as reduction. But who is going to loss means giving electrons is called as reducing agent. Who is going to accept the electrons is called as oxidizing agent. Any doubt in this? Please kindly answer. Pradosh, have you understand? Sai, Sheshaini, that is what. So now you will notice it. Now let us go with the example. Shall we go with the example, everybody? Try to communicate so that you people can understand very easily. Now, you all people know the well-known equation, formation of sodium chloride. Maitreyan, can you tell me the equation, formation of sodium chloride? Sodium plus chlorine will give you sodium chloride. Is it yes or no, guys? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
That is what. Now, this is what the equation we know. So now, sodium is balancing. So 2Na. So here also 2Na will come. This is what.
2 NaCl.
Now, so you write this equation in the form of ions. What will happen? Tell me. In the form of ions. In class 9th also I taught you. So now if we take sodium. So sodium will react with the chlorine. So sodium is donating or receiving electrons. This is what we can say atomic equation. So we'll write in the form of atomic equation so that you can understand. Okay. So now you tell me, sodium is going to lose electrons or gain the electrons? Sodium.
Loss electron.
Loss of electrons. Do you understanding, everybody? So loss of electrons, oxidation or reduction? Oxidation or reduction?
Oxidation.
Oxidation. Do you understand, everybody? Oxidation. Understand? So it will turn into how many electrons it can lose? Sodium. You all know sodium. What is
One
the
electron.
sodium? Sodium is equals to how much atomic number? You should
11.
11. So electronic configuration is how much electronic configuration?
2,8,
2,8,
8,
Oh.
1.
Yeah. How many electrons it can lose? One electron. It will-
electron.
So it will become plus. Is it yes or no? Plus.
Yeah, plus.
Okay. Now that is why this is called as what we used to call. Shruti, what we used to call? Oxidation. Now, chlorine is going to gain the electron. Chlorine is going to gain the electron. How many electron chlorine can gain, guys? How
1.
many electron chlorine can gain, guys? One
Yes.
electron. Understand? So it is going to gain of electrons. So gain of electron. So gain of electron, what we used to call, guys?
Reduction.
Gain of electron.
Reduction.
Guys,
Reduction.
you should tell me. So now you tell me how it will be. So because chlorine atomic number is how much? 17. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. So 7 electrons is there. How many is needed? As I told you, if 7 electrons is there, how many is needed to gain the electrons for to become stable? To become stable, 1 is needed. So that
Plus 1.
take 1 electron. Plus 1 now. Plus 1 or minus 1, Monish? Taking electrons always minus, correct?
Cl minus, sir.
Cl minus.
Cl minus.
That's what I'm saying. So Cl minus. So that is what. So this is what we used to say. Gain of electrons. Okay. So reduction. Now you tell me. I want who is oxidizing agent, who is reducing agent. Please.
Chlorine oxidizing.
Yes, please.
Sodium Reducing agent.
Oxidizing agent. Anybody? Oxidizing agent and as well as others. Is it only Almukil? Others don't know? Reducing agent. Now you see, who is going to lose the electrons is called as reducing agent. Who is going to lose the electrons?
Sodium.
Lose the electrons? Sodium. So we can say sodium is called as, understanding, sodium gives electrons to chlorine, so it will reduce itself. So that is why we can say sodium is called as reducing agent. Now, oxidizing agent. Chlorine will accept the electron from sodium. So that is why we can say chlorine is called as, what is to call? Oxidizing agent.
Oxidizing agent.
Yeah, that is what you have to remember. So kindly please all of you write it. Have you understand this example? Shakti? No response at all from Shakti. Mahalakshmi, Monish, Alana? That is. Write it. Mane and Samaya, have you understand? Please kindly ask me if you have any doubt. Rahul, have you understand, Rahul? Now, first equation, so that I split it and I have written. I split it and I have written. But in exam and all, you are not supposed to split like this. Directly you have to write it. Now, how to write it? Let us see. Can we go with the next example? You have to communicate and tell. Is it okay? Next.
Sir.
Completed this one. Please respond. Have you completed this one, everybody? Bhavadrani?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is next example. Right. Magnesium plus oxygen. The first example of class 10th. What is the example? What happened to Maitreya? Maitreya is not there.
Magnesium oxide.
Yeah, what is that, guys? Magnesium is burning with oxygen. It will give you
Magnesium oxide.
magnesium oxide. Understanding? So balancing is not a matter. Just give it balancing. It's not an issue. Now, first oxidation reaction. Let me see who is it. Oxidation reaction. So MgO. MgO means what? Elmukil. Can you say Elmukil? What is this MgO? MgO means what? How I can write? As we know, magnesium is 2 plus, oxygen is what? 2 minus.
2 minus.
What will come? Mg2, so that it will be get.
Photo.
So that guys, MgO. So instead of MgO, I can write in the form of atomic equation. What is that atomic equation? Mg2 plus and 2O minus. So this is also called as what? Same MgO only. Do you understand, everybody? In the form of valency I am writing. Now you tell me, magnesium is going to lose the electrons or gain the electrons?
Lost the electron.
Lost electron.
Magnesium is going to lose the electron. So oxidation or reduction? Oxidation or reduction?
Oxidation.
Oxidation. Everybody, you have to speak. So magnesium is going to lose the electrons. Loss of electrons. So that what was to call, guys? It is called as oxidation. If at least try to answer one question, so that you will definitely will do correctly. Next, oxygen is going to gain the electrons. Understanding? So it is going to addition of electrons, or it is going to gain of electrons. Understanding? So gain of electrons. So gain of electrons, what was to call?
Reduction.
Reduction. So don't get confused. Now, who will tell me oxidizing agent and reducing agent? Who will tell me oxidizing agent and reducing agent? Fastly.
Oxidizing agent, oxygen.
Oxidizing agent is oxygen. Very good. Why oxidizing agent is oxygen? Because it is accepting electrons. Do you understand? Now, magnesium is called as what?
Reducing agent.
Reducing. Not at all speaking. Tamil Selvan also. The Shakti also reducing agent. Why it is called as reducing agent? Because it is going to lose the electrons. It is going to gain the electrons, so that oxidizing agent. That's all. Finish it fastly. Any doubt, ask me. Clear? Everybody? Try to communicate and ask me kindly, please. Sai,
Yes, sir.
Rohit, Don't be silent. Princey, you also having doubt, kindly ask me. Later, once the class will over, definitely you will face difficulty. Now you have to make it, then definitely it will be difficult. You will feel little easy. That is what, see, others are communicating. Sometimes at least try to answer. Next question, others try to answer. So is it completed, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, next one. Right, we know the formation of hydrochloric acid. Tell me. Hydrochloric acid, anybody? Formation of Lakshya, reducing agent means who is going to donate the electrons is called as reducing. It is reducing itself to become oxidized. That is why it is called as reducing agent. It is going to receive the electrons to become stable in nature. That is why it is called as oxidizing agent. Who is going to receive the electrons is called as oxidizing agent. Who is going to lose the electrons is called as reducing agent. But loss of electrons is called as oxidation. Gain of electrons is called as reduction. Clear? Aksha? That is what. Now, next you write. Formation of hydrogen chloride. Tell me. What is that equation?
Hydrogen plus
Yes, please. H2 plus H2 plus
minus.
Cl2. If we'll make it, then we are going to get 2HCl. Yes or no? 2HCl.
yes, sir.
2HCl also I can write how? 2HCl also I can write what? H plus and Cl minus. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Everybody? Yes? Now 2 we don't have any use. Now hydrogen is going to lose electrons or gain electrons?
Loss electron.
Lost electrons.
Electrons. Understanding? So loss of electrons. So loss of electrons, what we used to call?
Oxidation.
Oxidation.
Very good. Kevin Prakash, are you there in meeting? I am not seeing Kevin. Next, chlorine is going to gain the electrons or
Gain the electrons.
gain the electrons.
Reduction.
Gain.
Addition of electrons. So addition of electrons. So those who are communicating, speaking only, they will do best in exam. You see, I am not joking. So addition of electrons, what we used to call? Oxidation. Clear?
Reduction.
Reduction, sir.
Reduction, sir.
Yeah, it is reduction. So addition of electrons is called as reduction. Now, who is oxidizing agent and who is reducing agent?
Chlorine oxidizing agent.
Chlorine is
Called as
oxidation.
oxidizing
Hydrogen
agent.
reduction agent.
Yeah,
Reducing agent.
oxidizing agent.
Reducing
Hydrogen is called as reducing.
Reducing agent.
Reducing agent.
That is what. Yes, very good. Next example. Let me see who will answer. Now, next example. Next. Magnesium. Formation of magnesium chloride. Who will say the formula? Magnesium chloride.
Cl2.
MgCl2. So now, MgCl2, how I can write? Mg2 plus, understanding? So, two chlorine atoms. So, Cl minus 1 and Cl minus 1. Yes or no? Yes, please respond.
Yes, sir.
Magnesium 2 plus, how many chlorine atoms we need? 1 or 2, 1 magnesium atom, 2 chlorine atoms we need. So that is what we are going to get MgCl2. So for 1 magnesium atom, 2 chlorine atoms will combine. Yes or no, guys? Yes,
Yes,
please.
sir.
So that is what you have to
sir.
remember. Now you tell me, what is oxidation, what is reduction, what is everything, etc., etc. So magnesium is going to lose the electrons. So loss of electrons.
Oxidation.
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 Loss of electrons. Oxidation. Very good. Next. Chlorine is going to
Gain of electron.
gain
Gain the electron.
electrons. Addition of electrons.
Reduction, sir.
Reduction.
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 Yeah. Addition of electrons. Reduction. Have you understand everybody? Others also, please. If I'm not calling means don't be silent. If you're silent, silent only always, lifelong. So who is oxidizing and reducing agent? Girls, boys, silent. Girls, let me see who will say. Which is oxidizing agent, which is reducing agent? Girls,
Chlorine is oxidizing agent. Magnesium is reducing agent.
very good. Who is that?
Sir, Bhavadharani, sir.
Badran, very good, Badran. So chlorine is oxidizing agent. Other girls don't know because they want to be silent always. like dumb fellows. So magnesium is called as,
Magnesium reducing agent.
why magnesium going to lose the electron, and what is that? Chlorine is
Chloride.
gain the electron. So this is what it is happening. Is it yes or no? That's all. Now, so this is all about donating electrons and receiving electrons. Now, you might be remember I put a statement that while I'm teaching the displacement reactions, all the displacement reactions are examples of what?
Redox reaction.
All the displacement reactions are examples of what? Please respond.
Redox reaction.
Redox reaction.
Reduction.
So displacement reactions are generally displacement reactions are examples of what? Also examples of redox reaction. Now, the displacement reactions taking place how? Based upon the high reactive and less reactive, more reactive and less reactive. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes, please respond. Yes, everybody. Now,
Yes, sir.
we will take displacement reaction. What is any example of displacement reaction? For example, see, CuSO4, which is an aqueous state, will react with iron. So reaction will take place or not? Laksha,
Yes, sir.
Ishali, reaction will take place. Why?
Yes,
Iron is more reactive than copper, so that reaction will take place. So that what we is to get? We is to get iron sulfate.
Rust sulfate plus copper.
Copper.
Solid.
Remember, this is what we used to call it as displacement reaction. So this every displacement reaction, we can say it is an example of redox reaction. Why means, so here if you take, who is the more reactive? Who is the more reactive?
Iron.
Iron.
And
Every more reactive metals gets oxidized and less reactive metals, understand, gets reduced into metals. That is what you have to remember. So all of you remember in displacement reaction, more reactive metals gets what will happen? They will do oxidized. Do you understand? More reactive metals gets oxidized and less reactive metals cation. Why I am saying cation, you can understand. Cation get reduced into metals. Get reduced into what?
Reducing the
Metals. Okay. So that is why we can say all the displacement reactions are called as examples of redox reactions. Now, you might be not understand one word here. What is that word? Can anybody tell me? Reactive metals cation. Have you seen it? Cation. Why I am using cation here? Anybody? I think nobody understand. So cation means positive or negative charge.
Positive.
While I am teaching that, I taught you positive charge.
positive.
So cation means positive charge. Now, let me see how smart you people are. Use your brain and tell me. Use your brain kindly and tell me. So write the same equation which I taught you just now. Now you tell me CuSO4, which is in what is the state? Maitriyan? CuSO4 is in
Aqueous state.
iron is in solid state. Understanding? Iron is in solid state will give you iron and understand ferrous sulfate, which is an aqueous state plus copper metal. Now, be very smart, be like intelligent and tell me, think very carefully. Now let me see who is going to say first now. What is the state of iron? Is it atom or ion? Atom or ion? Please, atom. Do you understand it? Now, copper sulfate, what is the state of copper? In copper compound. See, copper sulfate is the compound. What is the state of copper in copper sulfate compound? Please respond. Is it an ion?
Copper 2 plus.
Ion?
Cu2 plus.
That is very good. Very good. So it is Cu2 plus. Cu2 plus. So it is what? We used to call that.
Ion.
Which ion is positive? So what we used to call it? Cation.
Cations.
Now you read the statement. All of you now read the statement. What is happening? More reactive metal gets oxidized. So who is get oxidized? Iron get oxidized. Do you understand it? Iron get oxidized. Okay. Now Here, what is happening? Next statement read, and less reactive metals cation gets reduced into what? Gets reduced into what? Metal. So,
Metals.
before reaction, iron is in atom and copper is in ion state in compound. Now, after reaction, what is the state of iron? Anybody? What is the state of iron?
Fe2 plus.
Compound.
It will turn into ion. And copper,
Ion.
state of copper? Copper is the atom. You understand?
Atom.
That is the meaning of this statement. Have you understand, guys? Everybody? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can say displacement reactions are examples of what? Redox reactions. Everybody.